Check this out. I know you have always dreamed of performing in Carnegie Hall, so I think this 2023 to 2024 season at Sound Espressivo will be perfect for you. As a platform, we host live online auditions so you can share your music with the entire world. Then we send you to incredible in-person venues like Carnegie Hall so you can perform solo, as a duo, as an ensemble, and with orchestra. This year we have a total of 4 gala events at Carnegie Hall, as well as 4 different opportunities to perform with orchestras in the US, in the Czech Republic, and even in Egypt. We want to help you fulfill your musical dreams. Go to soundespressivocompetition.com to check out our season and to apply.
Well, bravo. That was Kevin Matheson performing the first movement of the Mendelssohn Violin Concerto. His accompanist was Judy Clark, and a very passionate and wonderful performance that was. I am not a judge, so I will leave the comments to our judges. And you're listening and watching virtual concert halls where we're giving young people a chance to perform and audition to play with one of the 4 orchestras that are part of this competition. And so I'm going to turn things over to our judges. I'm sure they have some comments to make, and we will introduce, I'll read their names. We have Dikran Atamian, I'm not sure who the 3 of you will lead this, and Georg Sargisian and Lisa Lehman. So, gentlemen and lady, take it away and offer some advice. And Kevin will be listening very intently to what you have to say.
May I speak first?
Sure.
Okay, just because I'm the non-instrumentalist in the room. Kevin, brilliant playing, beautiful, really. These situations are challenging, aren't they, when we're broadcasting and we're not there in the room with you. I got the impression at the beginning that you were just a little, I want to say this better, at times in some of the cadential endings, not quite in the center of the pitch, just in a couple of little spots. I'm being really picky, but I would just encourage you to not slow the tempi down, but give yourself kind of the breadth of space and energy that you may have been rushing a little bit with. The orchestra will wait. Your conductors will be with you, especially in those moments that are your virtuosic moment. I really thought that the middle section was really lovely. I could hear it with orchestra, which was exciting. So thank you, Judy, for that too. But bravo. I'll let the others speak more.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Garrett, Gibwort? No?
Go
ahead, Dikran. Go ahead.
You'd like me to? Okay, I'll go next. I think it's a very accomplished performance. Everything, is syntactically there. I would say the opening, Beethoven wrote over Opus 101, he wrote with the innermost feeling. And he said it in German. And now this is not Beethoven, of course, but I think this opening of this concerto really is one of the most personal statements in all the repertoire. It's so intimate and sweet. And I think that, first of all, it was well played, but I think I agree with the previous judge. I can't see the names. I'm sorry. Lisa, sorry. Yeah.
It's okay.
I like the way you said that, but I would go further a little bit. In other words, hold the longer notes longer and the shorter notes shorter. In other words, I can't sing, but it was too rigid rhythmically. It was dun da 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 da, absolutely in strict time. I don't think you want that, and you want to develop the tone between the notes, and how you get to the next note is very important. Not just nailing it, but how do you get there? I'm not suggesting sliding or anything, but it's an intimate thing. Much of the concerto, this movement, is a lot of passage work, and even there, I think it was a bit driven, I thought, just a little bit driven for this piece. Perhaps the last movement would, profit from that kind of approach a little bit more, but I feel it needs the breadth of, the space between the notes. Again, I repeat myself over and over, and you've got to hear the harmonies clearly in order to place those notes. In other words, if I go bum ba da dum, that's wrong for me. That note's too early. but bean da 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 da. So that you can tag the whole phrase at the end with ba dee da 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 da. Then again holding ba da 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 da, and that repeated note. You got to decide whether you want to go da 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 dum ba dum or dee da da dum bum bum. You know, is the repeated note an entity in itself, or is the second note of the repeated note attached to the next note? Where does it belong? I think you have to think about your phraseology in relationship to what's underneath your solo part. Obviously, the orchestra more aptly put the harmony. And so if you do this throughout the whole thing, you'll get less of that in time. Well, I would say dull strict time. Rather than being dull and strict, it will be expansive and sensitive. And the tone, that was the other thing. It was a sound thing and a timing thing for me. This is on a very high level, by the way. I think you play the concerto, you play the hell out of it. There's no question. There are a lot of people that can't do what you just did. But nevertheless, I think you should think about this movement, Allegro Appassionato, more expansively. It's not a driven appassionata, but a more intimate yet powerful performance of this piece. And then when you get to the middle section, you can really just, I found that da 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 dee da 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 again too driven a bit. You could be more intimate and much. I would keep those three notes going to the top note, of course, but not so directly. You know what I mean? And the ends of some of the let's have some, enjoy those moments. I hate to say it, but hold the long notes longer, the note values longer, the whole notes or half notes, and the quicker notes, the bridge material, get on with it. And you do. But you've got to have those moments of holding. You've got to hold us, capture our imagination. Okay? That's all I wanted to say.
Kevin, before we get to our third judge, you have any comments for Mr. Atamian?
No, thank you so much for your input. It's very helpful.
Wonderful.
Well, I hope so. I mean it in a very constructive way. It can be glorious,
And our third judge, Gevorg Sargsyan in Saudi Arabia.
Hello. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you very much. And Julie, thanks to you as well. It was very nice and very supportive, collaborative pianist. We shouldn't forget pianists as well. Kevin, look, I'll try to come from the perspective of a conductor, and instead of saying what is good, what is not good, because many things are obviously very good, I would rather we discuss it instead. I heard a lot of energy. If I don't hear, I just look at you and I don't have the audio, I would think you are playing either Khachaturian Concerto, Tchaikovsky, or maybe the third movement of Sibelius. If I don't hear it. There was this tremendous, I'm going to do it. For my liking, it was too powerful for Mendelssohn, which is not necessarily a bad thing. It can be an interpretation of yours, and I am totally with you. But because of that, I think because of that energy, there were certain things that what Lisa and Tigran just mentioned as well in terms of the retention of the notes and a little bit of unfortunate I don't even want to call it mishaps. It's just slips here and there, which is totally normal and happens all the time with all the musicians. So I'm not even focusing on that. What I wanted to focus on really the energy and your approach to this very dominant, it's like with domineering over the music. I also noticed that you are playing with because I'm trying to see you as a soloist, right? I'm the conductor, so I want to see you as a soloist with the orchestra. I was looking for that connection of yours with the orchestra. If you are playing the solo, what is your connection to the orchestra? Are we in the same synergy, in the same level? I didn't see all of it, but then again, you don't have an orchestra with you, although Julia did an amazing job. So that was my impression. But needless to say, it was very powerful, very good, and many things. And Cadenza, I can see it was a lot of many hours put in it, and I want to appreciate and thank you for the efforts.
Thank you.
Thank you. Kevin, any comments you'd like to make or questions you'd like to ask? Or
No, thank you so much for the input. It's very helpful.
To our judges, any other final comments about Kevin's performance before we move on to the music of J.S. Bach?
Yeah, I'd like to say one thing. Maybe the question should be, how do you conceive this piece? Because what Georg and Lisa were saying, it's a matter of conception. Nobody's going to argue that it wasn't well played, but we want to go beyond that, right? So is it a Tchaikovsky? Is it a Brahms? Or is it this very, I mean, in a way, this is the hardest concerto, in a sense, for violin. Many violinists, including Shlomo Mintz, who I played with, and I think I haven't heard him in a long time. He was pretty phenomenal. And this is particularly his piece. He made his debut with Abbado with it in Chicago. And this is what I mean. How do you think of that opening? What do you think of the first cascading passage work? That's a very tricky passage. What's the conception in words? I like artists to articulate in words. I don't like I had a teacher once that just pushed me off the piano and say, do it like this. That's not teaching. You have to say something, verbally to give the student or the person you're working with an idea of what they want, what he wants.
Right.
Or she. So my question to you, and I don't need the answer now, of course, we don't have time. What do you think of this concerto? I mean, how do you think it should be played? You can answer if you want to.
Is Kevin still with us? I think he's just. Oh, there he is. Yes, Kevin.
Yes.
Yes.
Would you like to tell us your conception of the piece?
Well, I was going with because there isn't a comma after the Allegro. So is it a question of, is it Allegro molto appassionato? Is it Allegro molto appassionato, or is it Allegro molto appassionato, which is
but those things don't matter. Those are directives. Composers, look, Bach didn't give any indication to anything, but you can just see it in the manuscript. You see the notes, the note values, the spacing, the texture. I don't think you need Mendelssohn to tell you molto appassionato. You don't even need Beethoven to say with the innermost feeling. That opening of 101 is one of the most personal statements of all time. And so is the opening of this concerto. It's extremely intimate in a sense, not driven, I don't think. But if you think of it as driven just from the score, not the directives, staccatos and all those things, forget that. Just tell me from the notes, how do you think of that opening?
I feel there's this inner energy from the violins in the orchestra. The that to me it's.
Okay, I get it.
Yeah, I'm coming from the energy of the orchestra.
See, I think of that energy of the orchestra being very supportive and very down, not too aggressive. You know what I mean? Almost like, very much like chamber music, very collaborative. I like what Georg always says in these sessions is he wants to hear you with the orchestra. And I think you might think of the opening a little differently, and it might give a tone to the rest of the piece that you never thought of, possibly. I'm not saying my way's right. I mean, I know the piece very well and, whatever, but everybody has an opinion, right? I mean, that's for sure. But I think here, this molto appassionato or appassionata, I don't know the marking. Yeah, I mean, you don't need it. Just get it from the notes.
Well,
That's
Kevin,
what I
thank
think.
you. I hope you got something from this. I myself did. I learned a lot just from listening to you and listening to the judges. So thank you very much. We're going to move on now.
Check this out. I know you have always dreamed of performing in Carnegie Hall. So I think this 2023 to 2024 season at Sound Espressivo will be perfect for you. As a platform, we host live online auditions so you can share your music with the entire world. Then we send you to incredible in-person venues like Carnegie Hall so you can perform solo, as a duo, as an ensemble, and with orchestra. This year we have a total of 4 gala events at Carnegie Hall, as well as 4 different opportunities to perform with orchestras in the US, in the Czech Republic, and even in Egypt. We want to help you fulfill your musical dreams. Go to soundespressivocompetition.com to check out our season and to apply.